Hey everybody, it's been a while. Haven't talked in like 7 days or so. But you know what time it is. It's time for the Slant 3D podcast, the show about 3D printing and our place inside the industry. Today, we're going to talk about all the things that have been made and so many more things to be made. But before that, we're going to cover the news, which includes things of a 3D printed toy brand going into mass retail, an update to a shoe going into mass retail, and then discussing the different ways of getting traffic on your Portal store. But before that, let's go ahead and pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Portals. Portals is the replacement to Etsy that we released about 6 years, about 6 months ago. Not 6 months ago. Wow. You know, I went in with a big old plan for this podcast and reading all this stuff. Okay, it's off the rails now. 6 weeks ago, we released Portals. You can upload a file, you can set the price for the print of it all, and then you will be given a link. You can share that link around, and anybody can buy the print from you. And when they buy it, Slant 3D will print the item and ship it straight to them for you. So you can focus on designing parts, and you don't have to worry about the printing, the packing, the shipping, the sales tax, the international sales, the returns. All of that stuff are things that we take care of for you. So you can take whatever loose files you have stored up and just upload them to Portals. And when you do, you can start selling the actual physical prints. So now your items are not just limited to the people who have 3D printers. You can now actually make all your designs and inventions available to the people who don't have 3D printers, which is about 8 billion people. So check out Portals today over at slantpod.com. That's slantpod.com. All right, first piece of news, everybody. Here we go, rolling right into it. Wigglitz partners with Moose Toys in order to bring 3D printed fidget toys to mass market retail. ZB Designs, the Ogden, Utah-based company behind the articulated fidget collectibles, is expanding its brand's retail presence with the help of Moose Toys and its wide distribution network. The company will continue to design and produce the 3D printed toys and maintain specialty store distribution. This is per thetoybook.com. Craig Drobis, Global General Manager, Partner, Preschool and Construction Brands of Moose Toys, shares his thought on the partnership. With our long history of success delivering collectible sensations like Shopkins, Magic Mixies, and Mr. Beast Lab, Moose is uniquely positioned to amplify Wigglitz's reach across major retailers. ZB Designs has done an incredible job creating the category of 3D printed, fidgety, wiggly collectibles in the 2 years since they first introduced them. Zach Bailey, founder and CEO of ZB Designs, adds, with Moose Toys as our mass retailer distribution partner, the sky is the limit for Wigglitz. What started with a single 3D printer has grown into a cutting-edge, industry-defining toy brand and one of the most advanced manufacturing operations of its kind, with everything manufactured in-house and new designs always in development. Each Wigglitz toy measures between 1 and 2 inches. So, for people who are familiar with this podcast, you are probably already familiar with 3D printed fidget toys. And you also probably know that they are quite popular right now. But the leader in them by a mile is ZB Designs and Wigglitz. I recommend checking out their TikTok or their Instagram. Any of those places, ZB Designs has been around for a while, or ZB Designs. And they are one of the few who actually did fidget toys well, in that they started off with like off-the-shelf kind of purchased licensed models, but then they optimized them. They've since optimized them to be child safe, so they've gone through testing and certification. They're of course making them out of PLA, which is fine, and that works perfectly fine for toys. But they have an actual qualified fidget toy that can go into retailers. ZB Designs also has a very large print farm, like comparable to us, that is producing these things and has been producing these things. I actually had the pleasure of talking to Zach about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And the reason he was talking to me is because he wanted to know how to build a big print farm. But beyond that, I'm not going to mention anything about that any of the details of that conversation. But I am glad that this is announced because I got to talk to him a little bit about this. But yeah, this is fantastic. Wigglitz, or fidget toys in general, these fidget wiggly critters, can't really be manufactured anyway aside from 3D printing. But the trick is making them a final product. And ZB Designs actually did that. They optimized them into a final product. They figured out the pricing model. And they've been working by selling through specialty stores, like small toy stores around the country, just hacking it out and just grinding. And this deal with Moose Toys, which has done Mr. Beast toys in the past, it's an Australian company. It is an opportunity for them to really grow because Moose is sold in like Target, Walmart, all of them. It basically opens the door to any sort of retail that they want, and Moose Toys becomes the distributor within that. So it's a fantastic thing and a big old breakout for 3D printed toys. There have been other 3D printed products put into retail. This will be one of the larger volume releases. There's, of course, like gantry, and there's a few other ones that have gotten 3D printed items into retail before. But I would say there aren't many that have been this formal. The shoes, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. Actually, that's a perfect segue into the shoes. But not the Zellerfeld shoes, which y'all thought I was going for. Japanese sportswear brand ASICS launches a fully 3D printed recovery sandal earlier this month. In terms of looks, it's a closed-toe mule-style shoe that shows off the common lattice style that has come to define printed shoes. Contrasting ASICS branding separates this $250 sandal from the rest. It's a style ASICS has toyed with before. This is per All3DP. They're resin 3D printed sandals and slides. Recovery sandals are you wear them when you're done doing your workout. ASICS, if you guys don't know, ASICS was the original manufacturer for Nike before Nike was actually called Nike. If you want a little bit of corporate history, Nike started out as a company called Blue Ribbon Sports, which would purchase shoes from Japanese manufacturers and sell them in the United States. And their first shoe was called the Tiger, which was designed by the company that at the time was not called ASICS, but became ASICS. So, fun history there. But ASICS is making a 3D printed resin shoe, and it's made on a bunch of SLA machines someplace. Okay, the bigger shoe news is Zellerfeld. Zellerfeld got to make the Nike Air earlier this year, and they have just revealed that they are now going to start work and start production of a multicolor Nike Air Max 2, which is black and green per the photos. Nike's second model created with Zellerfeld following the Air Max 1000. Unlike earlier experimental runs, the 95,000 is intended as a foundation for repeatable multicolor production. Zellerfeld's Gen 3 printers allow for a complex single-pass builds with parametric fit and multicolor capability, eliminating the need for molds or traditional assembly. Yes. Zellerfeld shoes have always been a single color, and I have always respected that about Zellerfeld and the fact that they worked within the constraints of manufacturability, making single color shoes. The multicolor Nike Maxes, Air Maxes, look good. They have just some accent colors, which I think is a little bit under what would justify a multicolor machine. But obviously Zellerfeld working with the design team at Nike, those industrial designers will definitely always want multicolors. Shoes have multiple colors, so it's something to address. Many people who watch this podcast know that I am not necessarily a fan of multicolor because it's generally overhyped relative to the addressable markets. But no, it's good. And it's good for Zellerfeld because if Nike is re-upping with a new version of the design, it means the original Air Max launch went really well. So Nike is happy and they're expanding. Quite frankly, the way this is going, I would not be surprised if Zellerfeld exits to Nike in the next 1 or 2 years. It would make sense for Nike to acquire Zellerfeld, bring them into the fold, and use their tech to manufacture other shoes. That'd make a lot of sense. And at this point, Zellerfeld wouldn't be very expensive. And it would actually be a good brand for like Nike to have because Nike is good with branding and that kind of thing. But that's the 3D printing news this week, guys. The big one is Wigglitz, because Wigglitz is going to end up making hundreds of thousands of these things to sell through big box retailers. Yeah, it was a great... Oh, man, I wish I could... Nope, I can't talk about anything with the conversation with Zach. Someday in the future, I'll let it up. But anyhow, there we go. That is the regular news. For internal corporate news now, let's see here. Let's go ahead and just mark that down. Slant 3D print quality drops below 0.0 9% failure of any sort. This was a stat that I shared earlier this week. We were running the analysis over the previous month. And the way we gauge success, one of our primary metrics are number of canceled or returned or reported errors. So when somebody orders us something from us through Teleport or portals or anything else, they have free reign to cancel and refund it. There's a button inside of Teleport to where if we shipped an order bad, you just say cancel, refund, and it goes back. And we track those. And it is happening about once every 120 orders, which is about once every 160 pieces. So I'm going to round that up again. 1 out of 200 parts is defective. I'm rounding that up too much. I'm going to say 1 out of 150 parts is defective for round numbers that are easy to remember. This is a really big deal because it's exceptionally hard to get there. Most print farms historically operate at about a 5% shrink where something goes wrong. UPS quotes you as 1% of their packages not making it to the destination. A world-class manufacturer has a reject rate of like 2%. So those are the metrics, and we are below 1% of problem parts showing up to customers. And we are not done, not even close. Like, we have a lot of optimizations going in that have come out. There's been a few things that have worked with this. We've improved review of files once they're uploaded. We have had a lot more customers kind of age into Teleport, and failures generally happen when people are prototyping. When they're trying out new stuff or getting started or uploading a new file. Now that there's been several thousand users who have been with us for a period of time, they've kind of modified and tweaked in and gotten used to it and gotten stuff built out to where their parts are just produced more reliably and they're just over and over again and they're growing and making thousands of pieces. So that improves stuff. So the clients have improved. We've definitely noticed better quality parts being uploaded. Like, people aren't uploading super tiny things that shouldn't have features smaller than a nozzle diameter that just don't print very well. So that's not an issue anymore. We've improved QC, built out the team over there. We've obviously built out our production system more. You guys can see like an order flow. We've got a couple of videos in the past showing order flow of like how you scan and track and QC and all the rest of it. All of that has been working well. But yeah, users have really improved like quality of parts because people aren't just like trying random stuff. And when you start out, people also just upload kind of garbage parts to test you. They'll upload like the spider web and they'll be like, can you print the hardest thing possible? Oh, you're garbage. And I'm like, no, we can't print the hardest thing possible. I'm willing to admit that. But no, the failure rate is below 1%, which is just astoundingly good, especially for a print farm, especially when we print the item, pack the item, and ship the item. So we have multiple points of failure that most companies don't have. A manufacturer can have 2% failure rate, and then UPS fails by 1%. So 3% of stuff can just not turn out right. You have a 3% chance of stuff not turning out right. And we're operating at a less than 1% chance of things going wrong. And we're shipping through UPS. Winning! But no, the team's worked really hard on this. A lot of software updates, a lot of production updates. Just everything's rolling along. And I'm pretty sure we can drop this by another order of magnitude. We should get to about 1 in 1,000 having an issue of some sort, especially, again, as people grow and as we continue to improve. So yeah, big one there. Portals, of course, is scaling up. We talk about portals quite a bit. We cracked a new feature for portals the other day. So it's going to be really useful if you're kind of newish to 3D printing or just wanting to try stuff out. And it will be very useful for designers. That's a lot of clues. People can probably guess what it is from that, but I'm gonna let that one sit there. But we've cracked a big unlock for portals. It will probably come out, I'm gonna guess, about late November, maybe sooner. But right now we are preparing for Christmas. We're girding our loins for Christmas. Okay. Side note. How to get organic traffic on portals. This is something that came up recently. Last week, we upgraded searchability on portals and just made it easier for Google to crawl the portals that people have public. So what we came from this is we realized, SEO is good for portals. Good SEO on portals, the portals that are doing well right now are very specific spare parts. I need a handle for a 85 Frigidaire dishwasher. And you can't find that. But somebody will have designed that for their wife or something like that, along those lines. And they uploaded it to portals and they said, handle for a Frigidaire 1983 dishwasher. And there's not many people on the planet who need that to where that spare part exists. But now it does. So when we made that update, we saw a bump in traffic. And it was due to people having these really specific spare parts and solutions to where if somebody puts in, whatever tool number spare handle, the portal is popping up. So it's a really handy opportunity right at the moment, folks, in that you can build these really specific solutions and people are able to find them because Google wants to pass it to them. Do title it very specifically and give it a description laying that out more and more, and the portals are findable on Google. So it's a good way to get organic traffic to your portals. If you are not into making the videos, you can just build out a portal store. Also, by the way, we released profiles last week. A lot of profiles got created. Profiles let you show all of your portals at one single link. That page is live. We got the MVP out for it. Some polishing is being done right now and improving things. And more, we'll continue tweaking it and moving it as time goes by. Portals is 6 weeks old, guys. Since Portals launched, when it launched, you had 5 colors and you could pick, and you got a link to a portal with checkout. Now you have profile pages, you have a lot more control, you have third-party parts, you have advanced settings, support on, off, all these things. Like, there's been a lot done in Portals in 6 weeks. And parts are all still being delivered quickly. Okay. Oh, side note on that. In discussing parts and people uploading stuff, we've noticed a lot of people angling their prints lately, and I have been seeing it a lot on Reddit and Instagram as well. I'm not saying it was all us, but our top video on our channel is 500,000 views, and it talks about making a box like this with a support fin underneath. And I will say, and I'm going to scream into the ether about this, most people are doing grip fins wrong. People angle the part, and then they make the grip fins come up in the side like this. That's not how you do that. You take the grip fins and you put them horizontal like this so that it's in the plane of the layer line, so that the teeth of the support fins are strong and reliable. If you do it like this, you have like a layer, and it's kind of stair-stepped, and you can cause traction issues, and this is not actually attached to the support fin. So, for reference, the right way of doing it is to have the tines, the sprues of the support fin horizontal, not perpendicular to the part. Just good of the order out there from the inventor. I don't know if we were the original. I think we probably were showing that off. I'm not sure if I'm the first one who ever did it. Probably not, because there's not an original idea out there in the world. But I do see a lot of angled prints. Okay. That covers up all that stuff. Portal scale up, organic traffic to portals. You got the feature out. Quality control is fantastic right now. And a lot of people angling their prints. That's the company updates for the time being. We'll have more next. Oh, at this point, V2 of the API is live. We've done a full rebuild of the API. If you are a software developer who wants to code, or if you are a vibe coder and you want to build an app on top of our print farm, the API is live. The new version of the API is live. And you can find it on slant3d.com and just go to services and API. You can sign in, get yourself some API keys, mess around with it. It's fully functional. There'll be some more features rolling out of it there to make it more developer friendly, but the documentation is beautiful. It's live, it's operational. We fully deployed this version of it to all of our systems here this week. By the way, if you happen to see any sort of weirdness, let us know about it, because we deployed this new update to the API here this week. Shouldn't cause any problems. Again, it was kind of quality of life of taking an internal system and making it an external system. which can cause breakages in the system. So if you've seen any issues with teleporter portals, let us know, and we will get those squared away. Support@slant3d.com. That's the place to send that message. Okay. That's the update. The API is out. There'll be more on the API because we are very excited to see what people will build with it. And the true developers out there will hate me for this, but when we were building it, we were like, we have to make sure this is useful by vibe coders. An AI has to be able to use this. So even on there is a button for downloading a full documentation so you can upload it as a prompt into like Claude and generate an app on top of it. The API handles payments, it handles shipping and tracking information coming back. So you can pretty much create an STL uploader or an STL builder or something like that and forward that file straight through the Slant 3D API and it'll price it and the person can buy it from you. It's pretty straightforward. So we're excited to see what folks do with that, though we'll be pushing on it more heavily here in the spring. Again, after Christmas. Guys, we're adding dozens of machines per day right now to the print farm, trying to stay ahead of stuff. We had a bump day a little while ago, and a bump day is in kind of a surge of orders. And I was looking at it, and I was like, we're not to November 1st yet. And we had plenty of capacity for that day, but I was just like, on November 1st, everything doubles. By the way, turn on your ads. If you are running an Etsy store right now, turn on your ads. Turn them on. You hear this? Do you get this? Turn on your ads. Take $25. Go drive an Uber for a half hour, get $25, and spend $25 on ads on Etsy. Go do it now. This is your permission, your excuse. This is the tool. This is the secret. Turn on ads, spend $25. If you don't sell anything, your product isn't any good. I'm saying that right there. This is a truth. This is just how it is. Turn on your ads. You become the #1 search listing and people will see it. Turn on the ads for your store. Worst case scenario actually is Etsy does not pay but use up your ad budget, which it generally doesn't, and it just won't advertise your store because your copy or your description is too bad. And they won't advertise it for you until you fix all that stuff. So turn on your ads. If your product is good, more of it will sell. Turn on your ads. I make that clear. Turn on your ads. Like, no joke. Guys, here's the thing. This is how Christmas goes on Etsy. October 1st, you sell 31st, you get whatever you sold. November 1st, your sales double. You go from 10 to 20. You go from 50 to 100. Don't care what it is. Big double. That ramps up all the way to Black Friday. Black Friday, you get 5 to 10 times whatever your daily orders were. They fall off a little bit on Sunday. Then Cyber Monday, they bump back up again. And then they taper off throughout December / stay flat until about December 10th. Then they fall off again. For anybody else who is getting overwhelmed at that time, because somebody always does, get teleport tested now. The worst thing you can do is put your store on vacation. Just have teleport as a backup. That's your excuse to try it, because your alternative is losing orders. If you're like, oh, I don't know how many I'm going to sell, I'm not sure, I got 10 printers in the background. No, you're going to get behind, and you're going to put your store on vacation, and you will lose all of your Christmas momentum, and you will turn your store off on like December 1st, and you will lose all the revenue of the next 2 weeks. If you don't have a lot of machines, this is totally self-serving, and I recognize that. I don't care. It hates and hurts to see people do this. Test out Teleport, plug it into your store. Just know how it works so that you don't have an emergency. Because when you have a big old surge of demand at Christmas and you can't meet it, the worst thing you can do is turn your store off because you're missing the money. And if you turned on Teleport, it turns into free money. Maybe it's less profitable, but it's still profitable and it's free money. Plus, you have all the momentum going through Christmas. So if you do not turn your store off during the Christmas season, you will see that carry through to December 20th and then pick back up on January 1st as people spend their Christmas money. But if you go on vacation, you're shot for the year because you will miss the rest of the Christmas season, the rest of January, and you'll just be in the slow burn mid-January pickup when the season is over. So, make sure you have enough stuff. And make sure you have tried out teleport so that when it blows up and you don't have enough machines around and there's no machines to buy because everybody else has this problem too, you can turn on teleport and get your orders fulfilled. Test your parts right now, please, because if you test the part in the middle of December, we aren't going to be able to fix all the problems with it when it shows up inside the system. We are girding our loins for all this stuff too, but it'll be a problem. So, anyhow, all that stuff. By the way, yes, this is something that I wanted to mention, and we'll do a dedicated video about this. But like, in order to get like the best experience on teleport and portals, it is important to order the part once. This isn't really for prototyping. It is, but it's not. When a part comes through the first time, it takes longer to produce than when it comes through a second time. Because the first time we see the part, it has kind of a part approval, and then of course there's the print, and if the print is bad, then we need to adjust stuff. We've pretty much made it our policy internally, don't tell anybody, that if a part needs a reslice, we will manually reslice it. We do not let the automated system automatically grab it all. But that means that we pull your part in, do a manual slice, and we'll like place supports and that kind of thing in it too. Because it is better for us to do all of that extra effort on the first piece so that you get a good part. Because if you sell the second part, all of that effort now kind of pays off. So if you're producing a lot, we originally had a policy of like, okay, when this part sells a second one, then we do the revamp. But we're like, no, it's hurting the first customer experience. So we've just made file review and manual reslice part of the very first prototype, which seems obvious in retrospect, but it wasn't, because we were like, it's really expensive to do a manual reslice. It's engineering time. And you guys are supposed to upload good parts, but we've changed it. So the first part, if you upload a part that takes 10 hours to print, okay, it takes a work day to print. Takes a work day to find out that it's broken. The next day we got to slice it, which we started up, which we might get a next iteration. We slice it, and then it goes back onto the machine. It takes another day for it to print. And then if that fixed and it worked, we might have to do it again. So now you're up to like 4 days of processing time for this. And if it's really a problem, it could take longer. The good news is the time to make your first part is the longest it will ever take to make that part. Because after we're done, and that prototype is done and that kind of stuff, and you've approved it, you've received it and approved it, after that, it's fine. So, yeah. The first part will always be the longest processing time. After that, it's generally faster. Right now, I would the stats, again, from the other day, 87% of parts were going out in under 2 days. That doesn't mean that parts don't knock up against the 5 days or go longer. We've also shifted our policy to where if the part isn't good, we're still not going to ship it. So we just keep on working at it until it's good or shippable, or we have some sort of insight. And if you're wondering what's wrong with your part, go check your file list inside of Teleport, and you'll see the engineering notes of like, this part, you uploaded an octopus flailing its arms in the air. We don't know what to do about the support on this. We think you might have uploaded an SLA part, but here it comes. So, yes. The first part will always be the worst and the slowest. Every part after that always gets better because we keep on refining it as it goes by. If you're making 10 parts, 100 parts, we'll really optimize it. And actually, I'm not going to talk about that right now. We've gone long enough. We got other teleport upgrades that are coming here pretty soon too. Okay, 29. Sweet, we're 30 minutes in, folks. Discussion topic of the day. Do you realize how much there is to create? The other day, one of our team members came up and he was working on portals. And he's like, I figured out what I'm going to do for my portals. And he discussed the idea because he wanted to build some portals. And we were like, that's perfect. It was, he has a hobby. And he's like, I'm going to make this thing for this machine that I use in my hobby. And we were like, that's perfect. Because the part, if you try to shop for it online, it costs $200. You can 3D print it for a nickel and sell it for $50. Perfect. It was it set me started on it because I've always kind of thought this, but like, do you guys realize how much stuff there is out there to do? How many products suck and are terrible? Pretty much all of them. Like, and especially in particular areas, because like niches where people are working on certain things, if you are a ping pong player or a woodworker or anything else, the industries that address that group are very small. They're relatively small. And so they don't have some way to organize your ping pong balls because the one ping pong ball company hasn't thought of it yet. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's not a need. There's a huge need, and there's a lot of ping pong players. This is so incredible, and it's so hopeful, and it is something that people should realize when thinking about competition. There is so much blue ocean out there, guys. I think about it inside of the context of Slant 3D. We can be a giant 3D print service, and if somebody came up and for some reason, we're not anything right now, but if we were usurped from the throne of 3D printing everything, I'd be like, great, I get to go over here and print brackets for the oil and gas industry. Or great, we're going to go over here and print fidgets the way Z Bailey does. Or great, we're going to go over here and we're going to print lamps the way Gantry does. Like, there's so much opportunity out there that people really easily get caught. People shouldn't get caught in the fixed pie mentality. There is so much opportunity. You can literally look at the stuff around you, and so much of it is terrible. And so much of it is terrible, not generally, but for you. And with things like portals and that kind of thing, it's so easy to create the solutions. I have a pen and my glasses right here. You know, maybe I'm feeling nerdy and I would like a clip that goes onto the side of this particular brand of glasses so that I can stick a pen right there and carry it around there like it's in my ear because I can't put it in my ear when I'm wearing my glasses. That clip matters only to me, someone who works on a shop floor and needs a pen of a particular type or a Sharpie. No one else cares. I'm a market of one, but I could design it for myself and then sell it on portals. And the 100 other guys on the planet who care about having a Sharpie pen stuck to the side of their glasses could get a hold of it. That would be it'd take me all of 5 minutes to make the thing, and then it's live and out there in the world. Then there's, like, literally anything. Now, I will admit that I have a slightly different perspective on this because I'm a fairly creative person. So I can look at stuff and see all the things you could do with that. And that's not always true for everybody. And that's fair. But if you maintain the mentality that there is something here, because there is always something here, you can figure out something to use in a desert or on a boat or a plane or in your car or at home or for your shirt or whatever it was. There are so many things there. And generally all you need to do is kind of stare at it and be like, what irritates me about this? And that will create the creativity to find a solution and build it. But it's just, when I was really young, I wanted to be a scientist. And I remember reading about, they found mammoths buried under the ice that had been frozen. And then Jurassic Park came out and you were just like, done, let's figure it out. All science is over. Everybody knows the universe is accelerating outwards, and we can clone mammoths from the frozen mammoths because there's fresh meat right there. Done. There's nothing left to be discovered. That was my 10-year-old thought, and it's a thought that a lot of people have. But there's kind of this old adage of like the more you know, the less you realize how little you know, and this applies to products. So many of us think that the idea, the single idea that we came up with is the thing. And that it needs to be protected and guarded because ideas are so rare and so precious. And they're not. They're very common. They're kind of exceptionally common. The right idea at the right time is less common. So you have to learn how to cross-pollinate. But if you ever get into a scenario where you're like, everything's been done, the competitors have all the solutions, it's all finished up, just stop, because you're wrong. It's way better than that. There is so much opportunity out there. And literally, you can take any given industry that is as commoditized as you can imagine, and there is so much innovation that can happen there, people just don't realize what it is. And it takes somebody to have the idea, but far more importantly, it takes somebody willing to do the idea. I can share this, talking about Z Bailey Designs, or ZB Designs. When they started out, they went to the shows, just like everybody else does, selling fidget toys. But the thing they did is they would drive 4 to 10 hours to go to the next show. They'd hit it hard on the weekend, and then they'd drive home. And then they'd hit 4 shows in a single weekend. That is not some wild discovery. That is just doing the work. Everybody has the idea of selling fidget dragons, but most people stop at having a table at the craft fair this one time this summer. ZB just decided to go ahead and do it all. And good on them, because that's hard to do and a grind. But now they're going into Walmart and Target through Moose Toys, selling fidget dragons and fidget critters. And that's fantastic. Everybody else is looking at dragons. Oh, the dragons are inundated. They're saturated. You can't make any money from dragons. By the way, I agree. I think selling dragons is silly. But if you can find an angle on it, like just doing the work, probably works pretty well. And then once you find out that, oh, the fidget critters are pretty good, maybe you should make your own fidget critter so you actually have an advantage over everybody else. There's so much to do. And even in the operation of a business, if you ever operate a business, you realize that it's never done and you're never finished. And it starts to itch at you after a little while because you're like, I'm never going to be done and it's never going to be finished. We have this conversation every other week on portals. We're like, great, we built portals. We're done. There's nothing there. Alexander wept because there are no more worlds to conquer. And then we're like, oh, we got to do profile pages and storefronts. Oh, we got to figure out this other thing. And then we're just like, okay, well, back to it. When we built Teleport, we thought we were done. We're like, great, every Etsy store can now get plugged into our giant print farm. Finished. And then Etsy blew up and broke it all, so we had to build portals, and we're like, great, finished. We replaced Etsy. Portals. There it is. And then everybody started whining, and we fixed portals, which is great because also the customer's informed what the next thing is. But guys, there's just so much stuff to do. And you can be like a nihilist about it and be like, there's so much stuff to do. Or you can be really excited about the fact that there's so much stuff to do. Like there's so much opportunity. People get in this really limited mindset very often to where there's only the world that they see. There is only the pie that's in front of me. The pie doesn't grow. I've got my piece. Anybody else shows up, they're coming after my piece. It's a problem. But it's so much more freeing and will give you so much more opportunity when you get past that. If somebody calls me up, I talk to all the other print farm people around, right? We all talk together. And some of us like each other more and less than other ones. But I've talked to everybody, and very often the phrase comes, we might be competitors, but I think we ought to talk anyhow. And I'm just like, I don't give a damn. Guys, the 3D printing industry is so small. We are not eating each other's lunch. I don't care. I don't care if you have a 10,000 machine print farm over there. I don't care. It's still nothing. We're all still nothing. For us to match the daily number of orders output by Amazon, we have to ship 1.5 million printers and have them in a factory operational. I don't care about your 10,000 because that's 1%. No, that's not 1%. No, that was 1%. 10,000 printers is 1% of a million? Wow. Less than 1%, 0.7%. So, yeah. If you're 3D printing stuff, stop whining about competitors. Find an angle on it. We've run 5 Etsy stores for the last 5 years or so, 5 or 10 Etsy stores for the last 5 years. And we were the first really hard. No, we weren't the first to do it, but we were the first to like scale up a particular category on Etsy, which is now a much larger category. And we have a lot of competitors. And I'm indifferent to it because we're all selling some and it's fine. And we all have our version of it to where we get different styles of customers and it's fine. And that's generally what happens in competition. If you're both doing the same thing, it's based on how fast you run. You're playing chicken if you guys are doing the exact same thing. But if you are able to differentiate and find your angle on it, now you guys are in a race, but you're going down slightly different paths to where you're trying to get to the same destination, but you don't see yourselves running alongside each other. So I didn't mean this to be a competition kind of conversation, but like there's just so much stuff to be built, guys. Look at your everyday world. Think about how much organization needs to be done in your house. Imagine moving the furniture around. Imagine remodeling the kitchen. Imagine planting that tree in the backyard or planting that garden and then watering that garden and then so on and so forth. Like there's just so much stuff that is available to do to make your life better or you make your business bigger and better. So go do it. That's pretty much the difference between the winners and the losers is that the winners just did it. Just kept on doing it. So if you're scared that all the ideas are used up, perish that thought and move on to the recognition that no, there are infinite more ideas out there still, and there always will be. It's never done, and it's okay. And in that moment, when you're feeling like, oh, everything's been done, there's nothing else to do, everybody's doing it all already, go do it anyway. The fact that you think that means you have something to learn, you should probably go do it and realize how little you know. And then once you realize how little you know, you'll see how little the other guys know too. Go build a print farm. I don't care. Go for it. But you're going to have to run faster than me. But anyway, that's the discussion topic, guys. It's just like, it was amazing because people agonize over finding the right thing or the right idea. And so much of it is just starting. And then you start to realize how much possibility there is out there. Zellerfeld's like, we don't need to build a 3D printing service company because shoes is a $100 billion market or whatever it was. We can just make printers for making shoes and that'll be fine. But okay, guys, hopefully that gets you psyched up a little bit there. Turn on your Etsy ads. Get that done so at least you have some wind at your back. Turn them on. You're looking for a ROAS of minimum 2. 3, bigger numbers are better. That's the rule. Turn on your Etsy ads. And then if you're worried about the competition, well, go find something different against them or whatever else it was. Or just run faster. List more items. Get more efficient. Find cheaper filament. Whatever you got to do if you're in a fist fight. Or stop and quit whining about it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Oh, side note. Wait. Don't leave yet. We should have a live stream going on soon after this podcast. So, see you live. I'm trying to be as available once a week for live stream to help anybody with portals or teleport issues or anything else. So those live streams should be happening after this podcast. That's the hope and dream. Otherwise, they will happen intermittently throughout the week. And we'll do our best because it's Christmas and it's going crazy. Have a great day, everybody.